Hi there and welcome to a beautiful autumnal morning. Today you join me on the Fossdyke Canal in Lincoln, where I'm going to be doing some canal caster fishing to see if we can put a bag of fish together. So the Fossdyke Canal sits on the Lincoln and District Angling Association ticket, or the LDAA. The LDAA represents fantastic value for money for anglers in the Lincoln area. You've got two very good stretches of the Trent. You've got North Clifton and you've got Lauterton, and then you've got a number of these canal sections. And these canal sections get a bit overshadowed by that Trent fishing because it is such good fishing. But there's some fantastic sport to be having in these canals. There's also a couple of small ponds and two larger carp syndicates. Overall, the LDA ticket is a fantastic one to have if you're a Lincoln angler. So as I previously said, we're on the Fossdyke Canal today, and in particular the Woodcock section, which is the name of the pub just behind me. I don't know too much about this section. I have fished it once last week, and what I did find is that there's a lot of small fish in here, a lot of small bleak and rudd and roach right up in the water. So you'll see the way that I approach today is very positive. That's one of the main reasons that I'm fishing caster, and it's one of the main reasons that I'm fishing big bulky Olivet rigs, just to get through those small fish. There's some pike in here, there's some carp, and I think there's a few bream and tench sort of scattered about, but mainly the target is small, silver, typical canal fish. Roach, rudd, skimmers, pommies. Let's see how we get on. So I'm just going to talk you through my setup and how I'm approaching the session today. We've only popped down for a couple of hours, but I've still set up a number of different lines just to make sure I cover all bases. As I said, I'm pretty sure this canal's full of small fish, little bleak and roach and rudd up in the water, which would do a great day's sport, but I'm trying to fish through them and see if there's a better stamp of fish around. So I've got two set up for fishing down the track, and they're pretty much set up identically. So I've got an SF3 1 gram float. I quite like these floats because the tips are interchangeable, so as the sun comes up and moves through the sky throughout the day, my spot that I'm fishing, different colour tips, the red, the black and the yellow, all come into play throughout the day. So I particularly like those floats. I've gone quite heavy on a 1 gram because it's about 7 foot deep, and I want to use a large 0.8 gram Olivet to get down through those small fish. This is then finished off with a size 20 Acolyte silverfish hook, and I'm going to fish a single caster on that over little balls of ground bait. As I say, both those rigs down the track are pretty much set up the same. I've then got two rigs for fishing either side of a sticky out bush directly opposite me at about 13 metres. I'm going to fish these up in the water to try and attract some of the rudd. I know there's some good rudd in here. I've not managed to catch any yet, but when I have had a sort of better stamp of rudd, I have been catching them up in the water on loose fed caster. So the shotting pattern on these are much more strung out. Now you would think that would become an issue with the bleak, but actually they don't seem to show around those trees. They only seem to be out in the mid-water and down the track. So fishing up in the water, either side of the trees. The hook that I've chosen for all four of my caster fishing rigs is a size 20 Acolyte silverfish. Perfect for caster fishing and perfect for the size and stamp of fish that I'm catching today. Super sharp and durable and will last you all day. And then finally, I've got another 1 gram AS5 float for worm fishing. So this has got a slightly thicker tip, which is perfect for worm fishing, but the body is still nice and slim to not provide any resistance for taking perch. On the end of that, I've got a large size 12 Maggot Plus. I've been using this recently for my worm fishing, and I quite like how it's a narrow gauge, a slim gauge, but still got plenty of strength. It's also got a long shank, which helps me to thread as much of that lobworm hook bait on as possible. So they're the 5 rigs that I've got set up. Hopefully, 1 or 2 of them will do some fish. So let's have a little look through the bait that I've brought with me today. So I've come down thinking that I'm going to fish out and out caster. I really do think this sorts out the better fish that are in your swim. I don't want to be catching the little bleak and little roach that are in front of me. I want to try and get through to a better stamp. I'm very lucky in Lincoln. We've got Andy at Wisbleak Angling Surprise, and his bait is phenomenal, and he's provided everything I've got here today. His casters are top quality. I've also got some maggots with me in case the things don't go to plan and the caster fishing is not working. And I've also got some get out of jail free pinkies just in case. I really hope we don't have to use them, but they are there in case we need them. And finally, I've got some worms, some dendras for chopping and some lobworms for hook baits. I find a lobworm hook bait very instant for big perch. You either get a bite straight away or not at all, and therefore you know they're not currently in the swim and you can have a look on one of your other lines. Like I say, persevere with the casters, see how we get on. If it's no joy, then I'll drop down to maggots and pinkies. So I very recently filled all my top kits with the light pink 1.2mm power pull elastic. So I used to fish the aqua bungee for all my silver fishing, but it's probably just a little bit too overgunned for the size and stamp of fish that we're fishing for today. That's more suited to your F1s, your eyed, your large skimmers and bream, etc. So stepping down to the pink power pull has enabled me to have less hook pulls all day long. One of the things I do like about the power pull, and anyone that knows me knows that I like my value for money, is that you get 6 meters per packet. This means I can do 2 top kits per packet. So unfortunately, that is the end of this very enjoyable short session on the canal. I've caught a mixed bag of fish, but the highlight has got to be those big perch. And interestingly, they were caught on the single caster. They weren't caught on the lobworm over the chopworm. They were caught on single caster with sprayed caster over the top, showing you just how potent they can be at picking out the better fish on your canal.